So hi guys, welcome to African Explorer magazine. Today we have Mr. Kimani with us. We've been dealing with the last week we talked about carnivore conservation. Today we are going to talk about astronomy and planetariums. So welcome, Mr. Kimani.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Pana Ombogo, for having me.
So I just need give me like your background and how you ended up in astronomy and planetariums, and what is a planetarium for the people who don't
know. Okay. So my name is Kimani. Now, how did I end up in this space business? Actually, it was via family. My father was very interested in this. It was something he studied. He studied astrophysics in university. And then there was not much he could not apply it very much here in Kenya. So when I finished high school, around the time I finished high school, he got the first mobile planetarium. Now, when you talk about a planetarium, it's basically a dome, and then where you enter, and the night sky is replicated. So the way you're able to look up at night and see stars all around you, that's what is replicated inside that dome. So it was the first one, maybe in at least East Africa. And we were going to schools to show the children these things. So he was not the one. He was not the one dealing with the children. And I was in between. You know that in between place where after high school. So hapo ndio niliingia hii industry, and I've been in it ever since. But we have spread. We're doing other things a bit more. Maybe we'll talk about it as the conversation continues.
So yes. I'd like to understand, like, what did you study in probably, let's say, university, college? And man, your father studied astrophysics in Kenya. Like,
yeah.
Why do they offer a course in astrophysics, and yet we don't have a lot of opportunities?
Actually, he didn't do it. He didn't study here in Kenya.
Okay.
But right now, I know Nairobi University is doing it. And we'll talk about the opportunities because they're growing. Every day, there are more and more opportunities for people who are interested in doing those kind of things. What did I study? I studied economics. In university. I did not immediately see this as what I would do for my life, but I did economics, and in fact, one of my main focuses nowadays is using it to uplift Africans economically. So that's my main focus when I deal with astronomy nowadays. How can we use it as a tool to put more money in our pockets? As Africans, yeah, yes.
Why astronomy? Why the need to study astronomy? That's like, why the need to study astronomy as Africans and Kenyans as general? Because I do know, like, Ethiopia has its own telescope. They are very committed to astronomy.
Yes,
and it's actually being funded by the government. Why don't we have the same in Kenya?
Okay, first, I'll start by saying that as Africans, we were among the original astronomers. The idea that astronomy is for imetoka maju is not right, because astronomy is one of the oldest sciences, and what you need to do astronomy is just a sky. So almost all the people across the globe had some sort of astronomy knowledge. In fact, here in Africa, as I go around, one of the things we're doing is gathering local astronomical stories, because our forefathers saw this sky and they noticed seasons the same way we have people like in the Western countries saying the season, this star is in the north, these stars come in this season. Even here in Kenya, not even Africa, in Kenya, we had those things. Different tribes said different things. So it's not a new thing. We were the originals. I really believe that we're the original astronomers here in Africa. Something else. What else was I answering?
The reason to actually study astronomy and
Oh
also,
yes,
yeah.
the reason, because astronomy really gives us perspective as to who we are. Because sometimes we think, as human beings, we think the earth is the limit of creation, and we put ourselves very high up in the hierarchy. Yeah? We think we are very important. But astronomy gives us a real idea of the scale of creation, and really sometimes puts you in your place. In fact, it humbles you sometimes. And I think that's why a lot of even we'd put even our gods would look up to the sky, because it's inspiring and it's also very humbling. Yeah.
Let's talk about the planetarium in general, and then we're going to go back into a little bit of astronomy and why we are not why we don't have like proper roots when it comes to like modern astronomy. Now, in terms, give me like a short history of how you came to operate. And I understand you started, your father started it. Give me his history and your history. No.
Okay, so when we started, it was a commercial venture, just trying to see how we can monetize this interest that he had. So we got one that model was very basic, a very basic thing. It was a dome, and the first one we had, it was, even our projector was more, there was not very much we could do. But as time progressed, we formed an association called Amateur Astronomers Society of Kenya, Amateur Astronomical Society of Kenya, through which we were able to acquire an even better planetarium, which we shared among our members. I'm not the only person who's used this. There's also an institution called Traveling Telescope that used the planetarium, and also an institution called Apollo Science Park. They're based in Limuru, who are also part of using the Ali Planetarium. The goal was just to bring this thing closer and expose people to this science, where when we learn about it in school, we hear about the planets. We are told there are these planets, Earth is planet number this, we're going around the sun.
Pluto is no longer a planet.
Pluto is no longer a planet, those things. So that's where our astronomy education really reaches. But you still see children who are curious and want to do, they see it on TV, they see people going to space, they see these careers, and they think, why not? Why can't I do something like that? So the goal was just to expose as many people as possible to this new way of looking at astronomy, because you could almost touch, when you're inside that dome and you see these things, you feel like you can almost touch it. And the goal was to really inspire. In fact, at the bottom, the goal was to inspire children to think more and bigger thoughts. Yeah.
Now let's talk about the African, and especially you said you concentrated on the Kenyan tribes in terms of how they use the stars. What kind of unique stories have you heard? You know, what has stood out for you when you are talking to this older generation on how they used to use stars?
Yeah, first they used, like one of the oldest uses for astronomy was direction, because at night, let's say you're in a desert or in the ocean, when you don't have the sun going east or west, it's very easy to lose your bearing. So one of the earliest things, and you know, our in Kenya there are some nomadic tribes who would traverse from the northern Kenya all the way to Tanzania. Like, for example, the Maasais until recently were a nation that almost from northern Tanzania almost to northern Kenya. So you see, they had to have ways of moving at night and going in the right direction. So one of the things that was used is the stars. Also, for times for season, there's a star called Sirius. It's in the constellation, it's the brightest star. And there's more stories on Sirius. I can even share one. Now, a very interesting thing. This star is two stars very close to one another. But with our eyes, we only see it as one. However, in certain stories among the Kikuyu, they'd say it's two stars. And you see, there's no way of them to know it's two stars without telescopes. People only found out it was two stars recently. And we're not the only, Kikuyus are not the only tribe who had this. Even a tribe in
West
Zimbabwe.
Africa, the Dogon, yeah. I wrote an article.
Yeah, the Dogon.
Funny
Yes,
enough, I've
yes.
never known the Kikuyus know about the two stars in Sirius.
Yes, yeah. So when we talk about Africans being old astronomers, there's a bit of evidence. When I talk, there are people in northern Kenya called the Gabra. Yeah, they close relatives to what are they? I'm sorry. Anyway, they're called the Gabra. Anyway, so even they have stories for their constellation. You see something like Orion, this constellation called Orion, they have their own story. And they know when it's in a certain point of the sky, the rainy season is coming to an end. And so those kind of things. So, and also the Turkanas. You know, the Turkanas, though there's question about whether this thing is theirs, there are some stones. I don't know if you know about this. There's some rocks in Turkana, Namurutanga. I think it's called Namurutanga. They were analyzed and they saw that they were built aligned to stars. So you see, this gives proof of people who not only studied the sky, but we're very lucky. They might not have a lot of PR, but like 3 years ago or 4 years ago, a Kenya Space Agency was started. And so far, they're doing a lot of work. Maybe on a small scale, but when something's a child, you know, they have to walk before they run. But there are a lot of African nations across the continent are seeing the value of participating in space, and Kenya is one of them. They're really doing a lot, training, equipping students, a bit of outreach. I would encourage you to go check out their site. It's called Kenya Space Agency. There's so in Kenya, I know they are starting to do something.
Why we need to train our young guys on the stars? Why we need to study them? And the future of astronomy in Kenya.
Okay. Something is happening right now globally. There's a new race, and it's a race for space. And countries are putting up strategic posts because humanity is evolving from being just being Earth creatures to being we're now space creatures. But
almost
where does
intergalactic? We are almost
we're getting there. Yeah. But now where is Africa? You know, we really have to think about these things in terms of our survival, not even our survival, where our children will be, what kind of citizens of the world will they be? Because already right now, Africans are second-class citizens. They're looked down upon globally. And yet there's a whole new stage. Countries are going to the moon. 500 years ago, they discovered America. And the countries that discovered America became world powers. They set up shop. England became a world power. Not both northern and southern, Spain, Portugal. So there was a point in history, those were world powers because they had stations on this new continent. Now we're going to a place where everyone else, Europe, America, China, is taking positions in space. And you're hearing the way the world is being messed up. So it is a thing of, it's a thing of our survival, because we can't think about all these decisions. The Chinese think about like 100 years in advance. They are long-term thinkers. So we can't be thinking about right now. We really have to think about where do we want to be, because where we are right now is a result of some things that happened in our past. But we're in a position now to change the future of Africans and our place in the world. So it's very important for us to be players there. We cannot wait, and it cannot be done for no one feels sorry for us. Anything that we get is helping someone else. When it comes to, like, even you think about aid is a loan, so in a lipana interest. So there's nothing really no one really wants to help us. So we really have to help ourselves, and we have to start doing these things now, because we have the minds. There are some children I interact with, and it is shocking. You only see these things in TV. At an 8-year-old or 7-year-old who knows all these things about space. You think it's only Wazungus who have this kind of children, but they're here in Umo, Donholm, Gong. You're finding a kid, the parent tells me, and my son akona hiyo interest sana. Anasema, the parent says something like that. Then you interact with this child and you realize, hold up, this is a genius.
He knows more than what the parent is saying. Yeah, I've met such kids.
They are there, but we have to find them and give them an avenue to really grow into their full potential. There are people who are doing. There's a group of people I met who are doing robotics. They're building robots. I was shocked, because they're here. We have everything we need. Even these rockets we're talking about, they say it's not rocket science, but we can do these things. So that's why I feel it's very important for children to be involved in things of space.
Problem with the Kenyan government is like when you start talking about rockets, they tell you you're Al-Shabaab, you want to blow up stuff.
You are so accurate, because one of the biggest hindrances that they have had for their rockets is clearance, security clearance. They have been told you can't, and I'm thinking you must facilitate this. You can't block it. If it's a security risk, do your research on them. Look at them. If it's a security risk, use NIS. Look at their families. Monitor them. But don't stop them. We can move around these things. So the attitude, I think it's an easy way out attitude, where we're like, what's the easiest way? And then there's a thing of people being afraid to think for themselves. It's a big problem. Wakiona, this is a new thing. A lot of agencies, they are afraid to think. This is my opinion. But yeah, there's a fear of thinking.
Not even like a fear. It's like a fear that is placed upon us. Because, for example, like when I was following up on the Kenya Space Agency, the way like the feedback I got, like, you know, they're trying to show you it's a big thing, it's under security. And I'm like, you know, what's wrong with you, man? You think you don't know about space? What's wrong with you, man? So it's a pain for me because I've always been interested in science, and I really wish we had proper support. And that's why I started African Explorer magazine, because I saw nobody else is talking about this stuff, and it's happening in Africa. So let's talk about your contacts. Like, if people
can I interject kidogo?
Yeah.
That Africa Explorers magazine is fantastic, boss. I'm very glad I got exposed to it. I like the things you're researching on. It's very good, and yeah, nimeipenda sana. Yeah, so that's a
Thank
side
you,
note.
man. That's what the lady you connected with, the nuclear lady, said to me that this morning. She's like,
yeah,
I like what it's well researched on. But what happens is, because and when you look at the articles I'm coming up, and we actually two, it's a partnership between me and a friend of mine by the name of James Graditu. He's out. I like his writing, and that's why I hang around him. But it's most of he does his like original research. For me, what I do is like I follow the scientific community a lot. So any research, and especially you meet a lot of research is being done by Westerners, but it's about Africa.
Africans.
You know, Africans. So I was like, they are writing those articles out there about the discoveries they're making here. Yet we don't know about the discoveries that are being done behind, you know, just across the river. So it's a pain. And in fact, although Kenyans are reading a lot, the same like Americans are the ones who are leading. When I look at the numbers, it's Americans who are reading that content a lot. And I wish to see more Africans, you know, researching about, because I try to write about things that are happening like around you, you know. So let's talk about how people can get in touch with you. I'll make sure I also put up a proper contact information as we wrap up. Because again, I told you about the YouTube alone. We don't want to keep it for long.
Yes. Yeah. So
let's talk about your contact.
Okay. I didn't say that I'm the owner and director of a company called Leoska Africa. So you can find us online. We have a site, leoskaafrica.com. Then we have an Instagram and a Facebook. I'm also chairman of Amateur Astronomical Society of Kenya. You can find us on Facebook.
I'm coming to meet you guys all over. When do you meet?
We've been meeting online, but we can. We'll share, because we've not had a gathering for some time actually, but it's one of our agendas for coming soon. Yeah, so we have that, and I push that site a lot for anyone who is interested in what is going on here in Kenya and Africa. But our goal is to create a community, just a community of people who have this interest, and how we can share. You know, the telescopes are few. Not very many people get a chance to look through a telescope. So, and not everyone, we can't, let's just give guys a place to enjoy, do some of these things. So that's where you can reach me, Leoska Africa and Amateur Astronomical Society of Kenya, AASK, AASK. It's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
I was a member of AASK before I left Facebook. Yeah, so I think, man, I was a member of AASK.
But it was very quiet.
It was very quiet, but stories would pop up, guys would talk, and then go mom again. And I totally understand. We have such groups, you know.
There's a reboot.
Yeah.
We are rebooting it. In fact, that's my job at the moment. We are rebooting that thing because it was a sleeping giant. It was formed, and then there was not much activity. But now we're in the process of rebooting. Actually, we're in the process of rebooting it. So you'll be seeing some things from there very soon. Yeah.
And I'd like to do like more research on what you guys are doing on ground. I'll check out the site definitely. I'd encourage everyone else who's watching this show to go to their site. I'm going to drop their contacts here right now. And then make sure if you have like Instagram, make sure you follow them on Instagram and Facebook. Also, if you like what we are doing here right now, make sure you also subscribe to our channel, and also we continue next. So in the next like 1 week, we're going to have a nuclear scientist, a Kenyan nuclear scientist. All thanks to Mr. Kimani. She's very excited to be coming to be interviewed by African Explorer magazine. It was a pleasure, Mr. Kimani.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.